Just loading now. Thank you, Lord Mayor. It's just a moment. And we're good to go. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Members, item 13 on tonight's report is my presiding members report for January. Probably an understatement to say it's been a challenging start for our year, but I do want to once again acknowledge all the councillors are working together unanimously to bring forward our Reignite 2.0 initiatives. I've had fantastic feedback both by city businesses and the wider community, and that includes precinct groups and associations such as Business SA. So I do once again thank you, and hopefully with that raft of initiatives, as well as the initiatives that are already in process, we will stand our city in good stead for recovery. The Foodland Group CEO, Franklin dos Santos, said councillors showing great leadership in supporting small business, and I'm continuing to have discussions, of course, with the state government about density restrictions and also advocating for safe return of city workers as soon as possible. Yesterday, on Australia Day, I celebrated our nation's story, which dates back 60,000 years and has been shaped by the combined contributions of our First Nations people, as well as those who have come here from all over the world to call our country home. I started the day with a smoking ceremony in Elder Park, Merla Wirapoka, and with beautiful messaging from Auntie Rosemary Wanganeen, who has started the morning in the morning about 4 or 5 years ago, and her message was about opening hearts and minds. It was a beautiful gathering. And then we had our citizenship ceremony at the Adelaide Town Hall, where we welcomed 43 new residents representing 22 countries. There was also the Survival Day rally kicked off in Victoria Square, and of course there was an open day at the Adelaide City Mosque, followed by the Auslights on the River event, which is a beautiful display of storytelling through light, sound and performance. I do want to thank the Deputy Lord Mayor for stepping in for me at such short notice to represent the City of Adelaide. The Santos Festival of Cycling also took place in Victoria Square yesterday, and Deputy Lord Mayor had the opportunity to fire the start gun at the beginning, again representing the City of Adelaide, at the beginning of the Trek Night Riders criterium. And it was fantastic to once again have the Adelaide City Village in the heart of the city for the cyclists. Some sad news. Those of you may have heard of the passing of Sister Janet Mead, an extraordinary woman and who has just worked tirelessly at the Adelaide Day Centre for people in need. She also is very well known for her recording of the Lord's Prayer, which reached #1 in the USA in 1974 and received a Grammy nomination. And was inducted to the South Australian Music Hall of Fame in 2018 in a private ceremony. We do send our condolences, and she will be sadly missed. I also would like to acknowledge Tom McCready, as this is his first official meeting as the Director of City Services. Congratulations, Tom. And I do look forward to another year of supporting our community and delivering on the strategic plan. If I could have someone move that my report be accepted. Thank you, Councillor Mackie, and seconded Deputy Lord Mayor. All those in favour? Thank you, members, and that is carried. Item 14, I see your hand is up, Councillor Mackie.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I just wanted to foreshadow, and I'm grateful that you mentioned about Sister Janet Mead, that under motions without notice, I intend to propose a condolence motion.
Thank you. I'll put that down for there. Thank you. Councillor Kerr.
Thanks, Lord Mayor. In relation to item 10.2 of the last ordinary meeting, I apologise.
Thank you, Councillor Kerr. Members, 14.1 reports from council members. I'll look for a mover. Thank you, Councillor Knoll. Seconded, Deputy Lord Mayor. Are there any comments or any other further contribution to those reports? Deputy Lord Mayor, your hand's still up, or all good? If not, I'll go to Councillor Knoll to sum up. Thank you. Members to the vote. Those in favour? Thank you. Those against? Councillor Moran and Martin, are you voting? Yes, I need to see your hands. Apologies. Thank you. Councillor Moran, thank you. That is carried. Members, that takes us to item 15 on tonight's agenda with questions on notice. There are 5 questions on notice. The answers to those questions will, of course, be on our website for members of the public. If we can actually have those as read, members happy to have them as read, taken as read? Yes, thank you. That takes us to item 16, which is questions without notice. I've just got that there. Are there any questions without notice? No, if not, we go to item 17. Item 17.1, Councillor Moran, New Year's Eve Council events. I'll go to Councillor Moran and we'll be looking for a seconder.
Lord Mayor, I'm assured by the CEO that this has actually been actioned, so I will remove my motion.
Thank you, Councillor Moran, and I also know that that was actioned at the time. We have, that takes us then to 17.2, Councillor Martin, and
yes, thank you, Lord Mayor. Look, I will be withdrawing that. I am aware of a much more substantial and far-reaching action that will be coming at some time in the future, and therefore I think it would be best if I withdrew it.
Thank you, Councillor. That takes us then to 17.3, which is a policy on recompense for minor damage. Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Do you want me to seek a seconder?
Yes, please.
Thank
Members,
you.
thank you, Councillor Snape. Councillor Martin.
Yes, thank you, and good evening to Mr. Petrovsky, who I can see there, who I think is here for our benefit. I thank the administration for their comments in regard to this. And I must say, however, they did remind me of that very funny old Little Britain sketch, or sketch at least, in which the woman sitting behind the computer says no, which is what the administration says. It says no, and it says the LGA says no. And they are saying that for very good reasons. I get it, it's a policy. But I am asking for us to go a bit further than computer says no. Because I think our rules in respect of insurance for very minor claims under $1,000 needs reviewing. When you run a business as we do, like the golf courses, and they result in damage because of stray golf balls landing on windscreens or through windows, and you go to the city council, you get told, well, go to the LGA, you go to the LGA, they say, oh, well, no, you go to your insurance company, and that's all fine and dandy, except your insurance company usually says, well, we need the excess of $500. Now, not surprisingly, that's bad news for residents. They don't like it. It upsets them. And passing motorists too, I might add, are victims of this kind of accident from time to time too. So what I'm asking for is us to have a shift in our thinking. Now, we, the council, run businesses, we have costs, and we make money out of our businesses. Not all of them, but certainly some, like the golf course, we make money out of. And what I want to know, as do our stakeholders, is why can't we build the cost of what is a known expense, that is damage caused by our business to cars, to windows, to property? Why can we not have a shift in thought and say, well, yeah, you're right, it's actually an anticipated cost of doing business, and we need to accommodate that. Now, I think it's a reasonable thing to do. We as a local government recognise that we have an obligation, that we need to show leadership and to set the highest standards of behaviour and follow those through. And that applies equally when a level of government is running a business. The bar is higher. The bar should be higher because we are in a position where we can set proper moral standards. And all I'm asking in relation to this is that the administration have a look at how this might be done. Not computer says no, not LGA says no, how we can actually shift the ground.
That's time.
To recognise our responsibility in this community.
Put my hand up, Phil.
Thank you. Councillor Snow.
I'll reserve my right.
Thank you. Councillor Mackie, I think I've got you next. Councillor Mackie, sorry, you're still muted. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Lord Mayor. Double hand. I'd like to speak in support of this motion. It simply calls for a report, and I am persuaded by Councillor Martin's explanation that this is indeed an area of policy with regard to what would be considered to be, and I don't mean disrespectfully, but what's referred to as petty claims. And the cost and the imposition on the part of citizens to pursue this, I think it deserves some examination, and I'm happy to see a report and a further discussion in March as per Councillor Martin's proposal.
Thank you. I'm assuming that is Councillor Moran who wishes to speak. No, still muted.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Yes, look, I think the perfect example of this is a car driving down or up and down Montefiore Hill and a stray golf ball coming in and smashing the windscreen or denting the car. Now, in my extensive time here, we have always paid those claims as ex gratia payments, not leading to any, compulsion, but out of goodwill to the council. We have a large unfenced golf course in the middle of the city, and we want it to remain so. We have very, very few incidents where golf balls damage cars, but they come up every now and then. And for a very small amount of money, we buy the goodwill of the person through no fault of their own, has incurred damage on their car, or perhaps I haven't actually heard of anybody's house being damaged, but cars do crop up every now and then. I think this would be an easy thing. We've always done it. This is the first time I've heard via Councillor Martin that somebody was refused and were told that they had to find the golfer who hit the ball. Now, that's very unlikely for one to be able to do that. Absolutely impossible, I'd say. So I think this is a goodwill gesture, as I said, an ex gratia payment for the odd golf ball that strays and damages private property, either car or housing property. I think to say no in this is ridiculous. And as I said, previous councils have never said no. They've happily handed out money to replace a windscreen or knock a car. And I think that was very sensible. I was shocked to hear that we no longer did that. And so therefore, if we need a policy, we need a policy. It's not going to break the bank. It gets us out of the, well, you should fence your golf course problem if we repair any damage that's caused by an unfenced golf course. We have in the past planted trees to lessen the likelihood of golf ball damage, and we've changed some of the directions of the holes, but they still happen. And for a small amount of money, I think we keep the waters calm, and the motorists, as I know Team Adelaide's very keen on keeping motorists happy, keeps them very happy.
Councillor Kerr, I have you next.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. None of the members advocating for this motion have sought fit to address the administration comment, which is that this is in breach of the mutual liability scheme rules. In particular,
But I see.
the rule that says, as a member of the scheme, condition precedent is that the City of Adelaide will comply with the scheme rules. Unless there is an extremely compelling argument to this comment of fact by the administration, unless there is an addressing of this issue, and a very, very compelling addressing of this issue, which I doubt we're going to hear, given that it has been blithely ignored. But regardless, unless there's an extremely compelling addressing of this issue, I won't be voting this, and this should not be voted for because it's completely irresponsible.
Councillor Kouros.
Sorry, Lord Mayor, can you hear me? Yeah. Just for clarification, we're talking about golf balls hitting cars in an open golf course, and this motion is a reaction because of one person didn't get compensated for something that he felt should be compensated for. So we're putting admin to work to do a report based on one person on golf balls with an open golf course. Is that right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, the motion doesn't specifically talk to golf balls or damage from golf balls. I think they're the examples that have been given by Councillor Martin and Councillor Moran.
How I read this is why this motion came to fruition. So this is part of, as Councillor Kerr rightly pointed out, it is a breach, and it's a reaction to one person who felt that he wasn't compensated properly, as far as I can read what Councillor Martin's saying about golf balls that we already have an open golf course on. I just don't see any substance to this, Lord Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Lord Mayor.
Thanks, Lord Mayor. I've got a quick question. There was an assertion that we have made payments, we've paid claims in the past. Are administration able to clarify that, whether if that was the case or not, and whether if the council actually paid that amount?
CEO, are you able to clarify?
Thank you. Through the presiding member, like Councillor Moran, I have been many years at this organisation. I don't remember us doing that in the past. I have Mr McCready next to me, and who has managed the city businesses for almost 18 years. Can you please confirm if you're aware of any such payment?
Through you, presiding member, within the last 3 years, as way of example, I can 100% guarantee that we've had no payments through the scheme. In regards to any claim that comes before us, they are all treated equally and individually assessed, which goes through the scheme. I'm not aware of any claim that has been substantiated or any ex gratia payments made, but I'm happy to take that on notice and come back.
If we could, that would be great. We just want to make sure that we get our facts right. Lord Mayor, I won't be supporting this either. I think it's very straightforward and black and white. On page 142, point number 5, in case members of the public want to access it, or in case members have missed it, it will constitute a breach of the scheme. So I won't be supporting this.
Thank you. Now, Councillor Moran and Martin, you have both spoken. Is there a question?
I have a question. I think what I said has been misunderstood. I'm not talking about going through the scheme. I'm talking about ex gratia payments, and I can assure the CEO and Mr McCready that I personally know of at least 3. As I said, they're not very often. I'm not talking about the scheme. I'm talking about ex gratia payments. Thank you.
I think there was an undertaking by Mr McCready. There's no ex gratia payments that he was aware of, but he is happy to go and have a look if there's been more.
I'm talking about.
So now, members, are there any other speakers to this item? Because if not, I will go to Councillor Martin to sum up. Councillor Martin.
Thank you. You can hear me?
I can.
Oh, that's good. Now, look, I understand that members are having difficulty getting their heads around this, but
stupid.
The problem
Councillor
is,
Moran, that comment is
Point
public.
of order, Lord Mayor. Point of order. That language is That shouldn't be used
Thank
here.
you.
in
Can
this
you withdraw
chamber.
that comment, please, Councillor
I
Moran?
didn't say anything, Lord Mayor.
Well, you're sitting next to her and I heard it. So, Councillor Moran, could you please withdraw that remark?
I'm actually not referring to the councillors at all. I'm referring to something on my phone. Okay, so I'm sorry that they misinterpreted that.
You're right.
And I can vouch that Councillor Moran is going through her phone at this time. Lord Mayor, can I finish without interruption from the team?
Well, the interruption was Councillor Moran, actually, and the comment that she made. So, please go ahead.
Thank you. Look, I am asking members to get their head around this. Computer says no. Council says no. LGA says no. But the simple fact of the matter is that we have it in our control to investigate how we might change the rules. And why we need to change those rules is because at this time, we know that our enterprises, including the golf course, but other enterprises, can result in minor claims against us for damages that we cause. When that happens, the council says go to the LGA says go to your insurance company, and the end result is our ratepayers bear the cost. That is to say, we are making a conscious decision because of policy, because of the way it's always been, that we will deny liability. We accept that the cost of doing business, which is an occasional claim for damage of some sort, should be something that's borne not by us, but by our ratepayers and others. That is fundamentally unfair. And what I'm asking for is for us with an open mind and not with the closed thoughts about how irresponsible this is, or I'm hearing that this is just one incident, all designed to denigrate what is a reasonable proposition. I am asking members to approach it with an open mind. And equally, I'm asking our administration to come back to us with something that will assist us in providing leadership and demonstrating to our ratepayers that we accept responsibility for those things which result from our doing business. That is all I'm asking. Now, I recognise this won't be accepted, but Lord Mayor, it will be accepted at some stage because community pressure will grow. It always does, and government ultimately has to face up to the responsibilities that it should.
That's time.
Thank you, members. If we can go to the vote. Members, those in favour? Those against?
Division, Lord Mayor. Oh, good.
Yeah, good.
That is lost.
Mayor, I think you need the.
I actually, that's, I was just trying to count. Who have we lost?
I had 5 and 5. Councillor Ho was not in the meeting.
Oh, that's
just
fine.
rejoined. Yeah, so we just need your casting vote. Thank you.
I vote against it.
Can I have that recorded, please?
Absolutely.
As a division.
Jenny, that's a division. Thank you.
Certainly. Council members, a division has been called. All those in favour of the motion, please raise your hand and keep your actual hand up while I call out your names. Councillor Moran, Councillor Martin, Councillor Donovan, Councillor Snape and Councillor Mackie.
Thank you, members.
And does Lord Mayor have to? No, that's lost.
No,
that's lost. Thank you. Sorry, my apologies.
I'm just lowering hands. Okay, so that takes us, members, to motions without notice. Councillor Mackie. Where are you?
There. Where's my division?
Councillor Mackie? Yep. No, Jenny, you are not mute.
Sorry.
Councillor Ho, that's fine. We are going to item 18, which is motions without notice. And I have Councillor Mackie, and you are muted. So I'm trying to unmute you, Councillor. I'm so sorry. So there you go.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. I'd like to move a motion without notice, a condolence motion, and it reads as is on your screen. The City of Adelaide notes the passing on Wednesday, the 26th of January 2022, of one of its outstanding citizens, Sister Janet Mead, also known as Sister Marietta, and expresses condolences to her family and community at this time.
Thank you, Councillor Mackie. Deputy Lord Mayor, I have your hand as a seconder. Councillor Mackie, did you wish to speak to it at all?
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Just very briefly, and I appreciate the commentary that you've already contributed in your report. Janet Mead, for those of us of a certain age, was an incredible thing. Adelaide, 1974, releases a rock version of the Lord's Prayer. It goes worldwide. It reached, I think, number 4 on the Australian charts, or 3, and number 3 on the Australian charts, number 4 on the Billboard charts. She got a Grammy Award nomination and a Golden Gospel Award. It sold over 1.5 million copies. But more particularly, I want to draw members' attention to the incredible charitable work that Sister Janet Mead and her colleagues, particularly through the Day Centre in Moore Street, have provided to homeless people and to refugees in our city for decades. Janet was a force of nature. She was somebody who I once had the misfortune of crossing, and I was publicly admonished by Janet for endeavouring to bring about an ultimate positive resolution regarding the citywide dry zone. That failed, but the thing that I remember most profoundly, and because it went like a dagger into my heart, was Sister Janet Mead reminding me that you can never give an inch to your opponents, that you must stick with your beliefs, and that compromise was not a word in her vocabulary. Now, we all live in the world of politics and compromise. Janet was an incredible citizen. I'm so sad at her passing.
Thank you, Councillor Mackie. Deputy Lord Mayor, did you wish to speak?
Lord Mayor, just briefly to echo Councillor Mackey's remarks. I only got to know Janet Mead over the past few years, and she was an absolute champion and a beautiful, lovely lady. Just one thing, there is a spelling mistake in this. There's a T missing somewhere. Sister Janet Mead, it should read not Jane Mead. So if you can just get that fixed. But yeah, wholeheartedly support this, and I urge members to do so as well.
Thank you. Councillor Snape.
Thank you, Lord Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Mackie and Deputy Lord Mayor, for moving and seconding this motion. I do have one caveat to Councillor Mackie, and it's not just people of a certain age. Janet Mead was very well known amongst the youngish activist community in South Australia, which I've considered myself to be a part of for quite some time. Her spirit, her humanitarianism, her passion to fight for those most vulnerable in our society, both refugees locked in detention, but also the people experiencing homelessness, living on our very own streets through the Adelaide Day Centre on Moore Street. The work that Janet has done over decades and decades has been absolutely tremendous and made such an impact. And she has inspired so many people that have come after her and will continue to come after her. So I really do echo the thoughts of the movers. I will say I only got to know Janet in the last 6-7 years. It was actually during the 2015 council by-election, which Lord Mayor, you remember, both you and I ran in. I was much greener around the gills, as you might say, back then. And a friend of mine introduced me to Janet, and we got to talk policy around homelessness. And that was quite a learning experience for me, and it impacted me and my campaign quite greatly, and up until this day. So I've got very fond memories of Sister Janet, and yes, I just it is very sad news. I'm genuinely quite heartbroken about this news today. I commend the council and councillors for doing this.
Thank you. I'm not sure again if it's Councillor Moran or Councillor Martin. Councillor.
Yes, it is me. Just very briefly, Lord Mayor, I'd like to extend my condolences to Sister Janet Mead's broader family, that is the people with whom she worked at the Adelaide Men's Daycare Centre, and particularly to her staff at this time, who would be feeling a great loss. The thing that has not been said is that Janet worked not only tirelessly but silently to help the most vulnerable in the community, usually homeless men, and those who passed through the doors of the daycare centre received a great deal of compassion and care, but ultimately hundreds, if not thousands, received a new start in life. And that was a most extraordinary thing, that this person here in the City of Adelaide was getting those kinds of outcomes with minimal assistance and with no acknowledgement. She deserves our praise and our thanks. And I want to also say that she deserves thanks also for empowering those people who worked with her to deliver those outcomes. Those people have worked similarly tirelessly and well for the City of Adelaide in such a compassionate way.
Thank you. And are there any other speakers? And Councillor Snape, that's also when I got to know Janet Mead through the Adelaide Daycare Centre, but I had met her several times before that in different guises, and she is quite an extraordinary woman. I will go back to Councillor Mackie.
Thanks, Lord Mayor. Summed up.
Members to the vote. Those in favour? Those against? Councillor Hyde, I didn't get your vote. Thank you. I know I'm not allowed to vote, but I'm voting in favour as well. Members, that is passed unanimously. Thank you. Are there any further motions without notice? If not, I will call the meeting closed. Thank you very much for your attendance. And